Hey friends, well today I kind of feel like the script got shifted on me. I was planning to speak on one thing and really feel to just share from my heart this thought with you. So last night in the UK, many of you will be aware that we were told that this lockdown, that's what we call it in the UK. I know in America it's got a different name, not sure about other places, but for us it's called lockdown because literally we are locked down. And I think this is our fourth week and they announced last night that this is going to go on for at least another 3 weeks in its current form. And I just sensed in my heart when that news was made, and I'm sure the same news has been shared around the world, that probably some people were taking a huge, big sigh at the news. That like kind of a sigh of, I just didn't see it lasting this long. I don't know if I can keep going like this. I think anxiety creeps in those moments, and I think we just begin to feel a little bit like we're despairing because the end that we want to be now is now being moved again, and life that we want to return back to normal is now being shifted further away. And so I want to speak into that today because we all have those conversations, those inner conversations. And I've told you before, when I started this, I thought we'd be doing this for maybe 7-10 days. And, you know, I was looking back over how many of these we've done, and it's a lot. And now last night I was like, oh, I'm not sure. Another 3 weeks, that's, you know, could be even more, because what we planned in our mind doesn't look same in reality, right? And we're all there. We're all dealing with that. So what do we do about that? Well, today I want to ask you to choose to fill up. You know, when you drive your car somewhere, I don't know how you like to drive your car. I don't know if you're a person that says, I'll just fill up for enough for the journey that I, in my mind, know I need to make. And that way it saves finances, and that way it's, you know, better use of my resources. Maybe you fill up knowing just how far you're going to go. Or maybe you're someone who, like my husband, always wants the tank full because he's always ready for what's not expected. And so when I let the car run on empty, which I do often because I'm not even looking at the gauge, and suddenly he'll say, babe, did you not even notice how close to empty you are? And I'm like, I didn't even look. I think that's where we're at right now. I think all of us right now are realizing how we run our lives like that gauge, like that gasoline in a car. Some of us, we do our life with just enough to get by what we foresee we need. We have just enough patience. We have just enough peace. We have just enough grace to get us by what we think we're going to need. Some people like to live their life not even looking at the gauge, almost like they think it just magically gets filled up, that someone kind of puts gasoline in the car at night when you're sleeping, and then we suddenly realize when we're on that red zone that, oh my goodness, it's been a long time since I even looked at the gauge to see where it was, whether it was full or whether it was empty. I don't know how you live your life, but in this season, I think we're more aware of the gauge spiritually in our soul than we ever have. And I think we're more aware of whether we've been ebbing by, or we're more aware of the empty than we've ever been, because life just doesn't look like we expected it to. It's kind of like when the disciples that time are asking Jesus, you know, Jesus, just let us know what's the minimum kind of, or, you know, what do we need to get through forgiving people? You know, and one of the disciples says to Jesus, you know, in Matthew 18, you know, like 7 times, is that going to be like enough to get us by? What he's saying is, how much forgiveness do I need in my tank to make the journey ahead of me? And Jesus is like, are you kidding me? 7? Hardly. Try 70 times 7. Jesus is like, you can't live your life with a bare minimum forgiveness. You have to have it filled up so that when it's unexpected that you have to forgive, or when it's someone that you didn't foresee betraying you, you have to forgive. You have enough forgiveness already in the tank of your life to get you through all of those scenarios. And I think that's kind of the question we're all asking ourselves, or we should be asking ourselves right now. How much grace have I actually got in the tank? How much patience have I got in the weeks ahead to go homeschool again? How much have I got in my tank of love and compassion for those around me? How much have I got in my tank of peace, and how much of faith in my tank? And all of us right now Maybe we had enough to get us thus far, but the announcement that we've got to go further is making us kind of a little worried that there's not enough in the tank. There's a story in the Bible. It's actually in Matthew 25. It's an interesting analogy to put against our current circumstance. Though it's speaking about the kingdom of God, there's truths we can draw out of it for the way that we live our life. And it says God's kingdom was like 10 young virgins who took oil lamps and went out to greet the bridegroom. 5 were silly and 5 were smart. The silly virgins took lamps, but no extra oil. The smart virgins took jars of oil to feed their lamps. The bridegroom didn't show up when they expected him, and they all fell asleep. And I think the analogy that I want to draw from that is that's kind of where we're at. What we bring to the table in this season depends on our approach. So some are bringing enough for what they expected this would look like. But others, these wise ones that we're reading about, they brought what they expected they would need, but then more to keep filling up when that ran out. The 10 virgins got up and got their lamps ready. The silly virgins said to the smart ones, "Our lamps are going out. Will you lend us your oil?" And in the middle of the night, someone yelled out, "He's here. The bridegroom's here. Let's go and greet him." And they answered, "There might not be enough to go around. You're going to have to go get your own oil." And while they went out to get their own oil, the bridegroom came. They went inside, did the wise ones. And when the foolish ones returned, the silly ones returned, they couldn't get in. And the answer at the end of the parable is stay alert, because you have no idea when what you are expecting may arrive. And I think the parable there teaches us in this season that we've got to be the wise ones. We've got to be the ones that are not actually looking to everyone to lend us the oil, but actually we in this season have not only planned for what we expected, but we have planned for if the expectation moves and shifts. That we have enough for today, but we also have enough for tomorrow, that we have enough grace in the moment, but we have enough grace for the moments to come. And how do we do that? Well, we do that from living from a place where we're not just living off what's in the jar, but we're living with a plug-in to the source. You know, when you drive your car, you can have those containers with gasoline in the back, but you actually would be better living with your car and your vehicle plugged in to the source. The vessel can only contain so much. The source has an infinite supply. And right now, we've got to learn how to plug our life into the source. Listen, when I started doing this, I was like, God, I don't know, every day, is there something different to say? And I read back over the last however many days, 25 days or whatever it's been now, probably more. I've lost count. I'm not counting anymore. I don't know about you. But I read back over and I just was reminded of how God speaks every day. We start with today I choose joy. Then I choose faithfulness. I choose perspective. I choose to build. I choose prudence. I choose flexibility. I choose to change. I choose to encourage. I choose to refuse. I choose the soundtrack of my life. I choose to dig. I choose to heal. I choose the truth over facts. I choose to share. I choose to receive. I choose to simplify. I choose to be creative. I choose consistency. I choose to trust. I choose hope, celebration. I choose to speak in the storm. I choose stillness. I choose gratitude. I choose to magnify. And today I choose to fill up. In other words, God is always speaking if we are listening. The source doesn't run dry. So that's why with confidence, I'm letting you know I'm committing to keep on keeping on with today I choose, because the source is my supply and the source doesn't run dry. Listen, on my own, I've run out of things to say, but when we plug in to the source, we will always find we can fill ourselves up. So today, where is your lamp running low? Where is your gauge going to empty? And where do you need to pull the vehicle of your life back onto the forecourt of God's presence and plug into the supply of the Holy Spirit and plug into the supply of His word, of His peace, of His love, and fill up? Yes, what we thought, what we expected may not have been fulfilled in the way that we wished it would. The dates have changed, the time scale has shifted, but the source is still plentiful. And that's good news today to every single one of us. You don't need to worry about living on empty. You get to fill your life up. So fill up. If it's forgiveness because you're dying living in the same space, and you don't know how many times you can forgive your kids, forgive your husband, forgive your friends. I don't know if it's grace, if it's patience, if it's strength, if it's joy. And I want to ask you to actually help me get the word out, because if I'm going to commit and you're going to commit to keep being on this Today I Choose together, why don't we look for those in our world that actually would really benefit from actually just getting fueled up in this season? I think all those things I just read, maybe there's someone in your world, hey, they need the joy one. Hey, they need the patience one. Hey, they need the prudence one. I don't know, but I want us to share this so that more people can be filled and more people can help find the source of their strength. I think your unsaved friends, I think those in your world around you would benefit. I just got approached, how funny is this, by some kind of like health and fitness web thing, YouTube thing, where people plug in to listen to things, to, do yoga from, or to do whatever. And I don't know whatever you think about all of that, but they were contacting us to say, people are asking us, is there anything that will lead us to the source of like peace? And is there anything that will be a prayer or anything that we could think on or listen to that is more than what we have on this channel? So they've asked me to put together things like Today I Choose for people that don't know God, but are saying, I need to connect to something greater than I'm connected to. So how cool is that? So what I'm saying to you is, I want us, if we're committing to do this, let's share it. Underneath this Insta, just at your friends who are on Insta, at their names and say, hey, have a listen, at people, or let them know, hey, give this a follow, and let's spread the word. Let's not allow our enthusiasm to run on empty. Let's not allow our ability to reach out to run on empty, but let's together commit to spread the word so that more people can fill up on the things that actually are going to sustain them in this extended season. I want to end by reading you this verse. It's in 1 Peter 3, verse 8 in the Message Bible. And it says, whoever wants to embrace life and see the day fill up with good. That's us, right? We want to embrace life and see our day, every day, fill up with good. Then it says, here's what you do, right? So I love the Bible. It makes it really easy for us to know how to fill up with good. Say nothing evil or hurtful. Snub evil and cultivate good. Run after peace for all you're worth. God looks on all of this with approval, listening and responding well to what he's asked. But he who turns his back on those things will end up doing evil. If with heart and soul you're doing good, do you think you can be stopped? Even if you suffer for it, you're still better off. Don't give the opposition a second thought. Through thick and thin, keep your hearts at attention, in adoration before Christ, your master, and be ready to speak up and tell anyone who asks why you're living the way you are. So there it is. Let's share our resources. Let's share our source of strength. And let's every day embrace life and fill our day up with good. How do we do that? By refusing evil. How do we do that? By cultivating good. How do we do that? By controlling our speech. How do we do that? By plugging in. And I love this line. You do that by keeping your heart at attention, in adoration before Christ, your master. That fills you up. So friends, do not let the news that this is going to be going on for longer than we expected allow you to let your life go to empty. But instead, let it propel you to fill up today. Choose to fill up. I am choosing to commit all over again to filling up in his word, filling up with my worship, filling up with my prayers over you, my friends. And so today, let's share the message. Let's encourage those who maybe are tipping into empty. And today, let's choose to fill our lives up. Love you. You got this, because God's got you.